History of muscle testing. Well, for those of you that are relatively new to muscle testing, let me back up a little bit and let me go over a little bit about the history of muscle testing as I understand it, at least. Muscle testing is usually attributed to Dr. George Goodhart, and this was like back in the 60s, I believe. And Dr. Goodhart was working on a science project, research, and he was doing kinesiology research. And kinesiology is the study of motion. It was the study of muscles and how muscles work. And during this study, he came across some things. He was doing muscle testing, and we're talking standard muscle testing, not altered muscle testing, but just standard medical muscle testing. And he came across some things he observed. And one of the things he observed was that if a person was sick, that there was a certain muscle that would be weak. He found out that if, for instance, the person had a problem with their lungs, the deltoid muscle would test weaker on that person. And he thought that was kind of interesting. So what he did is he discovered that there were all these different muscle groups that were directly wired on the same circuit, I guess you could say, as the different organs. When the certain organs were not okay, certain muscle groups would also not be okay. So he developed a technique where he would go through and he'd test the different muscle groups on the body to get an idea of what was going on internally with that person. And of course that came to be known as applied kinesiology. Now he went on to do more than just that. One of the things that he did was a thing called therapy localization, and he just discovered that if a person had a sick area that wasn't working correctly, he could have them take their hand and place it over the area that they suspected was not okay, and he would test their muscle, and he'd find that muscle would go weak when he did that. So, and from that, a lot of things, were uncovered. What happened was he would give seminars. One of these seminars, there was a dentist. His name was Dr. Johnston. And he discovered that there were certain points on the mouth. And these points, I guess you could call them kind of like acupuncture points. I don't know that they were really acupuncture points. But through these points, he could use a muscle and he could test the different points on the teeth to get an idea what was going on in the entire body. So he could diagnose what was going on in the entire body by using points on the teeth. Well, Dr. Versendahl went to one of these seminars and he was tested by Dr. Johnston. He had some bad gastric problems, and Dr. Johnston discovered what was wrong with him and basically fixed him. And he got very excited about this. So he went back to his office and he started testing people, with this technique. But he had trouble. He couldn't seem to get it to make it go right. So he started thinking, if there are points on the teeth, then there should be points throughout the body. So he did research. He looked at different acupuncture meridians. He did other types of research. And he discovered, indeed, there were. And he set about and classified them and plotted them and mapped them out. And from this became the technique which he used, which was called contact reflex analysis. Then from Dr. Versendahl's work, a lot of these other techniques branched out. And there's a whole lot of them now. The technique that I use is called cause-point correlative muscle testing. And I actually use some hints. I actually kind of disassembled it and put it back together in what I call a more logical fashion. I separated the points I call effect points for the points I call basic points, and did it in a fashion so that you could discover the basic causes of disease and how those basic causes of diseases were affecting the different organs, so you could put the picture together. So that's basically, in brief, kind of the history of muscle testing as I know it.